College football's IT team has arrived at their next tour stop, having just played in L.A. to rave reviews.
He's taking it to the house. Kenyon Barner, touchdown Oregon.
He's going to dance towards that pylon and score another touchdown. What a night.
The Ducks now come to Berkeley, fashion trending and speed burning.
DeAnthony Thomas, the Black Mamba, strikes.
Oregon's BCS stock is looking for a major uptick. It's crunch time in November, the month when title dreams peak or peril.
What a throw by Marcus Mariota. Wow.
The month when Heisman hopes spike or spoil. It's time to see if Oregon can have it all. It is a beautiful early evening here in Strawberry Canyon as we welcome you to ESPN's college football finale. From Berkeley, California, the renovated Memorial Stadium hosts the #3 team in the country, the record-setting unbeaten Oregon Ducks, facing the Cal Golden Bears. Of course, in recent weeks, Oregon fans have been monitoring the BCS standings. And tonight, they're probably already celebrating. Alabama's been defeated. Going to be a new #1. K-State won. Notre Dame ahead of BC. So it's all ahead for Oregon. A title run is lined up. Now it's time to deliver. As we say good evening, everybody, I'm Joe Tessitore alongside my partner, Matt Millen. Oregon's coming off the win against USC. They've won 12 straight. That leads the nation in terms of a win streak. Kenyon Barner is a Heisman candidate. But a lot of questions this week about that defense. USC put up over 50.
Yeah, and the good news for them, Marquise Lee, Robert Woods, Matt Barkley, they took the best of what USC had a week ago, and they survived. Now, the good news is they survived. The bad news is they've got to do better in the tackling department, Joe, because a week ago they did not tackle well.
Cal is in the midst of a tough season here. They've had a few moments of success. Hung with Ohio State, beat UCLA, but injuries have affected them greatly. And for more on that, we say hello to Samantha Steele. Sam?
Yeah, Joe, it's tough to be successful when you have 23 players injured in one season, and it just keeps getting worse. Now their starting quarterback, Zach Maynard, is out with a knee injury, and their star wide receiver, Keenan Allen, also won't play for the second straight week. That means that their starter will be Alan Bridgeford, a guy who really hasn't played much at all. Mobility is an issue there, but if there is hope for this Cal offense tonight, it's like Matt said, this team has struggled to tackle, and tonight they have a much maligned defensive line. Only one guy on the D-line in Oregon is healthy right now, and their star defensive tackle, Wade Keeley-Ikipi, didn't even make the trip. They traveled 3 guys that did not even travel with the team last week. If you're going to run the football against this Ducks team, tonight might be the night, guys.
Thank you, Samantha. Matt, knowing who isn't playing tonight for Cal and knowing what they're up against in Oregon, tell me how Cal can challenge the Ducks tonight.
Well, it's not going to be easy, but I think it's not so much, Joe, who's going to be on the field, but who's going to be in the sidelines. Clancy Pendergrass is their defensive coordinator. Now, he has had success against this Oregon team before. He comes with a great pedigree. He's an NFL guy. He will have to master his X's and O's this evening. And I believe this, when they do that, it's going to come down to their corners. Steve Williams on one side, #1, and on the other side, they're going to have to do the same thing right there with Mark Anthony, #2. These corners are going to have to tackle. I believe he's going to force things to the edges. The corners have to come through if they're to have success.
We haven't seen a defense that has slowed the Ducks this year, and all that production has Kenyon Barner as a top Heisman contender. 321 yards against USC. What do you do for an encore? We find out next.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by Applebee's, thanking veterans one plate at a time with a free entree this Veterans Day. Join us Sunday, November 11th for great food and a heartfelt thanks.
win the toss. Deferred. Cal set to receive as we are underway on our college football finale. And returning from the 9-yard line is Brandon Bigelow. Nice spin move past the 30, and then he is forced out of bounds at the 35 by the kicker, Maldonado. Chip Kelly, see him there on the left, 50th career game tonight, looking for his 44th win. Cal head coach Jeff Tedford, before he came here to become Cal's winningest coach, he was the offensive coordinator for Oregon. Quarterback for the Bears tonight is Alan Bridgeford. He gets the start with Zach Maynard unable to go, suffered a knee injury against Washington last week. Bridgeford just 4 completions on the year for 32 yards. So Felly on the carry to start this game, and he's taken down, just a gain of 1 that time by DeForest Buckner. There's the true freshman Buckner, plays defensive end.
And number 44, DeForest Buckner, a 2-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 8.
Little up tempo by Cal. Bridgeford to pass on 2nd and 9. And that is incomplete. The intended target was Ross Bostock.
Tess, there's a couple things that are going to have to happen for this Cal team if they're going to win. First, they're not going to be able to eliminate the big plays from Oregon, so they just has to limit them. They can't lose the turnover battle. They have to come out on the plus side. And the big thing on them defensively is their corners are going to have to tackle. You're never a good tackling team if your corners don't tackle.
Amoeba defense being shown by Oregon. You have that front standing up on 3rd and 9. Bridgeford pressured, and he is taken down by Taylor Hart.
Taylor Hart gets the sack, but he's going to turn around and credit his coverage because there was no place to go with the ball down the field. And because of that, watch Bridgeford. He thinks he has something, but Hart's there right on top of him. Good coverage down the field. Nicely done by Hart.
Cole Leininger on to punt. And the Black Mamba set to return. The Anthony Thomas for the Ducks. Rugby-style kick, and it's low. Line drive. That may have touched a player there, and it is fallen on the 43-yard line by the Ducks. That was Keenan Lowe, a wide receiver who also plays special teams for Oregon. Marcus Mariota has been one of the big stories in college football this year. The redshirt freshman from Hawaii. He has already set the Pac-12 record for the most touchdown passes by a freshman. Comes in tonight with 22 touchdowns framed against only 5 interceptions. And quickly getting it out to the near side to Josh Huff. So on the first play of Oregon's offensive night, they are already past midfield.
I'm anxious to see how Clancy Pendergrass is going to play this offense, and it looks like he's coming out in a 2-shell right away.
Mariota once again looking for Josh Huff and finding him. There's a gain of 9. He was tackled by Michael Lowe.
That's what I'm talking about, a 2-shell. 2 safeties deep, corners on the outside. Looks like they're going to play a form of cover 2 or quarters. And so Mariota's coming right out, and he's throwing in front of the safety and on top of the corner. It's not an easy throw. That's a big-time throw.
They're marking that for a first down. So first down at the 32. Kenyon Barner flanking Mariota in the backfield. And they go instead with the inside handoff to Dak. And Thomas has no running room there. He's taken down after a gain of just 1 by Kendrick Payne.
Anthony Thomas is the player that they want to get the ball into his hands. He's the home run hitter. Kenyon Barner is having a phenomenal year, but Anthony Thomas is the guy who can make a touchdown happen on any given touch.
Both Barner and Thomas in the backfield. Now Mariota. Plenty of time. Looks Barner's way, and here goes Kenyon Barner. And Barner inside the 15-yard line. And wasting no time are the Ducks. 18 more yards for Chip Kelly's offense.
Now the key right there is the offensive line and protection. And there was one significant change a week ago in the offensive line that has made this Oregon team better. And that's Kyle Long, number 74, the left guard. With the insertion of Long, it has solidified this offensive line, and it's also immediately made them a lot more physical.
Howie Long's son. Colt Waiora in the backfield now. Here's Barner looking for a block from his big tight end and not finding much there. Taken down near the line of scrimmage by Chris McCain. He's a 6'6" outside linebacker, very rangy defender for Cal.
Now when the Oregon Ducks, they run that zone, when they run that inside zone, all they're really doing is trying to exploit your integrity of your defense and your relationship between defenders. You must maintain a relationship. If you don't and you start to drift, that's when those big gaps happen, and that's when Barner starts blowing through the middle.
As he did last week against USC. Barner. And he was met at the 10-yard line that time by Nick Forbes.
Nick Forbes is a good football player. You watch the Cal defense, and Forbes is in on a lot of plays, both in the run game and in the pass game.
Leads the team in tackles. Last week against Washington had 3 turnovers, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception. 3rd down and 7. Line to make is the 3. Mariota pumps one way over the middle and a touchdown to Colt Waiora.
Mariota's pass is caught by number 15, Colt Waiora, for an Oregon touchdown.
So Tess, it looks like he's staying in that same cover 2 look. And when that happens, there are a couple areas that can be exploited. Getting to the middle of the defense. Here's Waiora inside. Getting to the middle of the defense. That is one of the weaknesses of that 2 shell. That when you also try to hit it, if there's going to play quarters, they try to go with 4 verticals. Again, the tight end is a key.
And they're going to go for the 2-point conversion here, and a flag is down. That was Jackson Rice who brought it in, but we will wait on the flag.
It's coming back.
He is 3 for 4 on 2-point conversion passes this year. This time he ran it in.
Holding offense number 60, a 10-yard penalty, retry for point.
And they are very aggressive on their conversion sets, as Chip Kelly will often roll the dice. He doesn't see it as anything more than science and math.
And opportunity.
And he'll take every opportunity he gets. So Maldonado lining up now. His first PAT attempt this year. 7-0 Oregon. Highest scoring team in college football. They're adding to it early. MetLife. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. MetLife, I can do this. Magnificent view of the Bay Bridge. And here in the HBA in Berkeley, the Ducks on their first possession right down the field. Marcus Mariota 4 for 4, capping it with that touchdown pass. And an angled short kick, Brandon Bigelow. And Bigelow, his speed takes him out close to the 30-yard line.
I like that Bigelow kid. They need to get to. But let me show you what happened on the touchdown. If they're going to go with 1, 2, 3, 4 across the back. And here's what Clancy Pendergrass does. He's putting an extra man right in the middle. Here's the key. They're going to have protection, but I want you to watch Mariota. Mariota is going to look off the middle defender right there, and that draws him. And by drawing him, Waiora can get in behind him, and Mariota, just a redshirt freshman, fantastic.
Colt Waiora, he's gone from secret weapon in the preseason to the breakout player of this offense. He is a freak of an athlete with his size and speed, and a good target for Mariota. So Fele With a good run out past the 35 of 6 yards for Cal. E.C. Sofele, senior running back. Waited his turn a few years behind Javid Best and Shane Vereen.
7-yard gain on the play.
Good little player.
2nd and 3.
But the best runner on this team is Bigelow. Bigelow, they need to get the ball in Bigelow's hands. He's a big, powerful kid, and he has great speed.
Yeah, he has 3 runs over 50 yards. Maybe struggles a bit in pass protection and grasping the entire playbook compared to the seniors C.J. Anderson and Sofele. And keeping on the ground here with Sofele, and a good burst out to the 46 and a first down.
Well, Taylor Hart came in quick and ended up just getting, I don't know what happened to him. He got cut or something, number 66. Right, he got cut from behind. He had a clear shot. Then Sofele just comes right up the middle inside. Now, remember a week ago against USC, this was not a very good tackling team. And like Samantha Steele said, with all these people hurt, that's going to put a lot more pressure on this team to tackle better.
Bridgeford, second pass attempt of the game, and it goes incomplete as he threw it to the inside of Powell, and a flag is down in the defensive backfield.
There is a flag on the play.
Michael Clay had the coverage on Darius Powell. Lan Clark is our Pac-12 referee tonight, as we hear from him.
Pass interference. Defense number 46. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul with an automatic first down.
And that's Michael Clay, number 46. Now, he's a guy who's not the biggest, not the fastest, not the strongest. I might disagree with that call. Looks like the ball was probably already past him.
First down for Cal at the Oregon 42. C.J. Anderson now in as the running back. He has 3 100-yard rushing games in the last 5 games. That time Bridgeford's effort was thrown out of bounds, and once again a flag comes in.
Yeah, that's Mitchell working on him on the outside, just trying to get a push up the field. That's Chris Harper, the receiver. Mitchell, coming into this season, was going to be
pass interference. Defense number 27. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul with an automatic first down.
Getting that firm push to Chris Harper's shoulder.
Now you can jostle the receivers in a college game as long as the ball's not in the air to them, and that's what they judged on him that it was. But that was actually pretty good defense, using the sideline as your help.
Bridgeford now over the middle and gets it complete for a first down to Chris Harper. Good looking true freshman is Chris Harper. In fact, he had 7 catches for 100 yards last week against Washington, and you see him quickly getting the ball to the 16-yard line for the Bears, moving it against this Ducks defense.
One thing this Cal Bear defense has, they have size with their receivers. Not necessarily the fastest group, but they are big receivers.
Remember Keenan Allen, their All-America candidate, unable to go, dealing with ligament damage. Another freshman, Bryce Treggs, who they're high on not playing. So a young group of receivers out there tonight for Cal. Play clock down to 1, and they're going to call a timeout as Bridgeford,
timeout,
quarterback who doesn't have a lot of experience,
Timeout, California,
saw that clock ticking down. So Cal on the move when we return. Tedford said, hey, we need a break here, guys.
The Experience Buick Lease. It's a new lease on luxury. And by Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind.
San Francisco National Cemetery, the first national cemetery established on the West Coast. In the Presidio, a former military base is the Presidio. We're over in Berkeley with Cal threatening to score against Oregon. C.J. Anderson, and he lowers the shoulders to the 10-yard line.
Right now, this Oregon Duck defense None of their starters are in that defensive front. Taylor Hart's out. Remington's out. Keely Keefe didn't even make the trip. Dion Jordan, their best pass rusher, and probably their only legitimate pass rusher on the sidelines. And so now it's up to the second group to get the job done.
See how they have struggled in the red zone this year. Can they break through against Oregon? 2nd and 4 to the end zone. Is he in? Yes! Touchdown, Darius Powell.
Darius Powell, nice route, but better protection. A lot of time to be able to throw, and he just looks like they blew a coverage on the backside. Avery Patterson, number 21, just dropped his coverage for whatever reason. Maybe a combination coverage or something he was looking at, but it didn't work.
Vincenzo D'Amato ties up the game with the extra point. Only the 3rd touchdown in the first quarter this year for the Bears. Tie game against Oregon early. Joe Tessitore alongside Matt Millen with Samantha Steele down on the field. 7-7 here early in Berkeley. Darius Powell, his first career touchdown catch. And for Alan Bridgeford, the backup quarterback turned starter tonight, his first career touchdown throw. As Oregon has DeAnthony Thomas back as a return man along with Keenan Lowe. Here goes the Black Mamba. And Thomas spun down at the 30. Let's check in with Reese.
All right, Joe, time for SportsCenter right now, brought to you by CDW. UCLA on top of Wazoo, 7-0. Dayton Jones blocked a field goal, and Roosevelt Davis, nothing but turf and opportunity in front of him. He cruised in to score. Bruins on ESPN2, by the way, up 7-0 on Wazoo.
That UCLA team was 18th in the country. Cal beat them 43-17 back on October 6th.
Yeah, but what a job Jim Moore Jr. has done with that team. Nobody expected them to have this type of season.
Marcus Mariota going downfield, and that was overthrown as he was looking for Darrell Hawkins, but he was well covered by Mark Anthony.
You know, when you talk to Clancy Pendergrass, one of the things that he said, we want to take this running game away and put the game on the freshman's shoulders. Now, he knows that Mariota is pretty darn good. He just thinks all freshmen, I think freshmen are going to make some mistakes, and that's what he's counting on here tonight.
Kenyon Barner. And Barner for a gain of about 3.5 yards. And was tackled by Josh Hill, the safety, coming up to fill that hole and trip up the Heisman contender, Barner.
Now, this is only the second series, but this Cal defense has done a nice job taking this run game away.
3rd down and 7. Mariota trying to extend the play here, looking for options, signaling for traffic, and then forced to throw it away. The pressure came from DeAndre Coleman, coming all the way around to track down Mariota.
I want to show you something 2 plays ago and just how physical it's getting inside. I want you to watch big Kyle Long right in here. You're going to watch him, and he's just getting after people one guy at a time. He's changed the way that offensive line's playing, and they're going to have to, because this Cal Bear defense right now is getting after it pretty good.
Rice's punt fielded at the 32 by Harper. And the defense did their job. And now that Cal offense will get a chance again. Chase continues in Phoenix. Just 2 races left. Championship NASCAR history on the line. It's the NASCAR Chase for the Sprint Cup at Phoenix. Coverage is going to begin tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPN. Alan Bridgeford, smart, student of the game kind of guy, and in a big spot tonight against the Ducks. And so Felly is taken down right at the line of scrimmage, maybe spun ahead for a yard, but tackled by Buckner.
Yeah, the big freshman, 6'7", 265, has some nice movement, nice and long. They're expecting big things from him, and right now he's being pressed into it, and he's responding. Jeff Tedford wanted to be able to control the clock. He wanted to keep this offense of Oregon off the field. He's got to have success in his run game.
See Bridgeford getting that offense up to the line of scrimmage. And now checking over to the sideline. Bigelow is the back. Remember, he's the home run hitter. Pure speed is Bigelow. Here he goes. And he was tripped up by Avery Patterson. The Cal offense this season has struggled. They have been inconsistent. 87th nationally in scoring. You see the time of possession, 105th.
Having said all that, their first possession in this game, they were impressive. And they were impressive because they gave Bridgeford time to be able to throw the football, and he responded.
3rd and 4. Let's see what Bridgeford comes up with here. They bring some pressure, and he throws it low into the outside of Chris Harper.
And he had him. He had time, just didn't make the throw. A more accurate throw would have kept that drive going.
California in punt formation. Number 16, Cole Lineker.
Anthony Thomas set to return here. Remember, he had that ultimate highlight punt return against Colorado. Went for 73 yards. And Lineker with the rugby-style kick. That almost went into the back of an Oregon player there. And a directional kick, able to play a little keep away from DeAnthony Thomas. College basketball gets back into full swing. ESPN's 5th annual tip-off marathon gets started right after Monday Night Football. 16 games over a 24-hour span. It is that time of the year. Basketball underway and college football heating up. And boy, was it red hot today with Texas A&M. Kenyon Barner and Matt, they are doing an outstanding job of pursuing Barner.
They're doing a fantastic job. They are keeping in the backfield Josh Hill as the safety. They're kind of stacking him. He looks like he's the free hitter. They're walking a linebacker up to the line of scrimmage, just 3 guys down. Look how they have him stand in the line of scrimmage. That's really well done.
Mariota gets this complete for a first down out to the 39-yard line to Will Murphy.
Let me just say this about Marcus Mariota. We're talking about a lot of freshman players, your Johnny Manziel and all those things, but this kid right here has the best poise for a freshman that I've ever seen. He throws the ball well. Nothing gets too big for him. When the lights go on, he's right there. Plus, he can run with the ball extremely well.
DeAnthony Thomas now coming around, and they're able to get his foot and drag him down after a gain of 2.5. That was Mark Anthony getting after Thomas.
You mentioned Mark Anthony. That's the corner. We've said from the start.
Your game plan.
They have to be able to tackle. These corners have to tackle. The game plan, it looks like, is to force things to the edge of the perimeter. And if that happens, your corners have to tackle.
2nd and 6. Barner, can he turn the corner? Yes. And a first down past midfield for Oregon.
Now, if you're going to expect your corners to tackle well, then offensively, you have to expect your receivers to block well. And that's one thing that this Oregon offense does pretty darn well. Will Murphy, that time, did an excellent job blocking on the edge.
First down on the plus side now for the Ducks. Mariota quickly getting it to Thomas, and when he gets that corner, you see just that little instant burst, and all of a sudden you have 14 yards downfield. First down to the 34.
That's the beauty of DeAnthony Thomas. See, first of all, you have to be able to identify where he's at. And if he's lined up in the backfield, he can be a receiver, he can be out in the slot, he can be a wide receiver. Just get him the ball in space and big things happen.
first down now. And here's Thomas again trying to keep his balance, and once he does, he drives ahead to the 28.
Not a big guy, but I'll tell you, he has great balance, phenomenal speed, like we've said, excellent hands, and great patience. And that's really kind of what sets him apart. He's got great patience and allows things to develop in front of him, and then he takes advantage of it.
He's in the slot to the near side, now in motion on second down, and here he goes. And he was met hard and forced out of bounds that time. That was good defensive effort from Avery Sebastian.
Avery Sebastian is a kid to keep your eyes on because he's a safety. He plays in space, but he comes with a full load every time. Boy, he will strike you.
Quick snap on 3rd and 1, and a flag comes in. Looks like there was some motion.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That is big Kyle Long. Remember, he started at left guard last week against USC. Was a backup tackle. He mauled people last week. But in that effort to get to the line and snap it fast, a bit of motion, so it backs him up to a 3rd and 6. The pitch to Barner. And he is forced out just short, and the flag comes in at the end of that play as well.
It was Josh Huff blocking for him out there on the edge, number 7. Keenan Lowe. Josh Huff, number 1, rather, and Keenan Lowe, number 7.
Holding. Offense, number 1. A 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Junior receiver Josh Huff. Had a big game last week against the Trojans. Went for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he's going to back him up here with this flag.
Yeah, watch, he's right down here.
That left arm right under the shoulder.
Looked like a pretty good block.
So it pushes them back to the 36-yard line. The line to make is the 24. 3rd and 12. Mariota with time, crossing route and spinning, but coming up well short was Keenan Lowe, and another flag is down. That was a big hit by Alex Logan.
A nice hit. We're getting a little chippy out here.
Sure is. A little tussle right in the middle of the field. This thing is heating up. Look at this. We got some players on the Cal side that took some steps off the sideline, and coaches are now bringing them back.
I'm anxious to see what this call is going to be.
There may be a few more unless they clean things up in quick order. Jeff Tedford having his assistants bring players back to the sideline.
They're getting pretty chippy.
Been a lot of talk this week, and some of it could be interpreted as dismissing this Cal team against the Ducks.
Personal foul, targeting with the crown of the helmet. Defense, that penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal with an automatic 1st down.
Targeting will be on the hit of the defender. I mean, the defender going up high to the head and shoulders. Let's see if this is what happens. You know, that's their interpretation. That's Alex Logan. That just
crown of the helmet to the helmet.
I think it's tough to play anymore because
strong emphasis on player safety in college football this year. Marcus Mariota inside the 10. And Mariota to the 5-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and 1. Quickly they line up right away, wasting no time. Mariota, stiff arm, and here he goes right to the pylon. Touchdown, Ducks.
That is
check
decisive.
To see if that foot, as he made that move, stepped out. We'll take a peek at this.
He got real close, Tess, on the sideline.
Watch that foot.
No, that's in. That's out. Right at about the 5.5-yard line.
Took that first stride that hit the white, and subsequent to that did it again.
The ruling on the field on the previous play of touchdown is under further review.
Ken Luschida is our replay official with the Pac-12 tonight, and I think he's obviously has the indisputable video evidence to reverse this call.
Right there, that was the first one and the second one. So he was out at the 5.5 on that first step. Right there.
Personal approach to banking from a bank that's just as obsessed with the Bears as you are. Go West. Bank of the West. Proud to be the official.
What was good, good, our camera work is able to catch it. They'll bring that thing back. But what was also very good was Mariota's decisiveness. As soon as he saw where the receivers were and where he was on the field, he made the decision to go ahead and try to get it.
Unlike anywhere else. Located at the top of the newly renovated west side of the stadium.
I'm sure what the replay officials are doing right now is simply trying to determine at what yard line to place the ball.
Yeah, there's the look right there. That's the first time that he went out.
Remember the line to make for the first down, the 4-yard line. Now, just to your point moments ago about this being chippy, there's a certain energy in the air here tonight.
Yeah, there is.
A funny day in college football.
Yeah, this whole crowd can sense what happened with Alabama.
After further review, the ruling is the runner stepped out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Therefore, the ball will be placed at the 5, third down. Clock operator, please reset to 2 minutes and 11 seconds.
So we'll put 4 seconds on. They'll put it at the 5. So that makes for a 3rd and 1. Remember, he needed to get to the 4, but when he took that stride, he went out at the 5. So 3rd down and 1. Barner in the backfield with Josh Huff lined up tight to this formation. And that's the little receiver. Barner. Extra effort will make it a 1st and goal.
That was excellent second effort by Kenyon Barner. I want you to watch Colt Lyerla. They're going to bring him back inside, and that's a wham block. And he got whammed, but Barner got drilled and worked right off of it. Second effort gave him the yardage and the 1st down.
And Kenyon Barner grabbing his hand there and running off the field right to get some medical attention. As you can see him in pain, grabbing his right wrist. We'll take a break.
Cal fans, Cal Football and Bowers Transportation are proud to announce the Cal Football.
Barner is over on the sidelines of Oregon. He's wincing in pain as they are tending to that right hand. This was his reaction, almost a delayed reaction after that play.
See what happened? He didn't know it until he pushed to put that chin strap on and put pressure on that hand, and that's when he felt it.
So Byron Marshall comes into the game, the true freshman running back. And here is Marshall right into the end zone.
Byron Marshall, the ball carrier, 4 yards into the end zone for an Oregon
Very
touchdown.
highly touted recruit. His brother is Cameron Marshall, the starting running back at Arizona State. He's got big upside. Clancy Pendergast, defensive coordinator for Cal.
They're playing him tough inside. That was another nice block by Lyerla to be able to get that inside position for the score.
And trying to stop that running game of Oregon. Tore through USC a week ago, and here 2 touchdowns on the board in the 1st quarter. 14-7, the Ducks. Byron Marshall, his 4th of the year. The top Heisman contenders in the country had to come out of the game there. The freshman Byron Marshall comes in for Kenyon Barner. And he scores, capping a 13-play drive that, remember, was aided by that personal foul. It would have been a 4th down there if it wasn't for the personal foul that kept things alive. Bigelow now. Brendan Bigelow. As they push that pile out close to the 35-yard line.
At the 13-yard line.
I'm going to go back to that touchdown. I'm going to show you the design of this play and how they try to do it. They're going to start everything going this way, and then Laerla is going to come back because they want, by running the back this way, they want the flow to go this way, and then they come back inside, and he cuts inside of Laerla's block. It's a wham block, but they start the flow one way to get the defense going. There's Kenyon Barner, who's going to, looks like he's going to go into the
medical staff walking him away from the team and into the locker room. Sofele, and he's able to turn his way on that edge, and a flag comes in on that play as E.C. Sofele gets out to the 43, but we will wait for the call.
Holding. Offense, number 73. A 10-yard penalty. First down.
Kenyon Barner leads on a day when Colin Klein, the other top Heisman candidate, had a couple of scores and won, but Johnny Manziel got everybody's attention on the national scene with his magic and the upset against Alabama. Backs him up to a 1st and 20. Bridgeford setting up the screen, and he's able to get it to C.J. Anderson, and Anderson quickly ahead to the 41 before he was tackled by Patterson.
Michael Clay read that thing perfectly, and at the last second got bumped off his block. And C.J. Anderson was able to take advantage of it up inside.
2nd and 4 now. Bridgeford sprinting to the far side, and Bridgeford's going to tuck it, run it, and get ahead to move the chains.
Ifo Ekprealomo came on a corner blitz and chased him probably for about 50 yards and just forced this thing at the end.
Under a half minute to go in a very entertaining first quarter. Sofele, good blocking in front, and he breaks free, makes a move to the inside, and is taken down inside the 20. Here come the Bears again.
And Avery Patterson's down with an injury on the outside. Nice block on the edge. Jacob Wark did a nice job, number 84, in the right tackle. Old Big Tyndall did a nice job of getting the block to be able to spring this whole thing.
As they tend to Avery Patterson.
The block on Hart, that's extremely well done. And then down the field, now nice cut. And that's where Patterson goes down with a knee. He holds his knee right away.
35-yard run. That is the longest run allowed by Oregon this year. Now Patterson being down, that'll be of great concern to defensive coordinator Nick Aliotti, because remember, earlier this year they lost their starting free safety John Boyette. He's out for the year after double knee surgery. Patterson is a guy, Matt, who came in, and many were thinking, well, without Boyette, an Oregon defense that is often panned took a step back. But Patterson has been brilliant in pass defense. Earlier this year, a couple of pick six in back-to-back weeks. He really has played above expectation, and now he's down with an injury.
Yeah, and not only that, but he took control of the secondary, made all the calls, got everybody where they had to be. And then that also allowed Brian Jackson, number 12, the ability to be able to do what he does best, because he did his job right there. Avery Patterson, that's a tough one for this Oregon Duck team. Right there on the pivot. He did it right away. He knew it right away.
You see him walking himself off the field without any help, but favoring that leg. And considering where they are in the defensive backfield with health this week, not a good situation for the Ducks. Isaac Dixon, who rotates in, is out. Reggie Daniels, who is not used often, is dressed tonight. Eric Dargan, number 4, should see a bit more time. End of the quarter here in Berkeley. 14-7, Ducks up. Here in Berkeley, Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Sam Steele, our first quarter summary. Marcus Mariota leading the way for Oregon. 14-7 lead, but the big story, Kenyon Barner and Avery Patterson left the game with injuries, and just moments ago, Barner returning to the field, but you can see the tears flowing down the face of Avery Patterson, their starting safety, as he makes his way to the locker room, and Cal threatening to tie the game as we start the second quarter on what's been such a strange and entertaining day of college football. Here's Brendan Bigelow. And Bigelow to the 14-yard line.
That Bigelow guy, that's a good kid, Joe. That guy's got excellent speed, very good balance. He runs with power. Not an overly big guy, but he's got something to him that he's got some playmaking ability in him.
Came in 11.9 yards per carry tonight. And getting some extended work here. C.J. Anderson now in the slot in motion on 2nd and 5, joining Bridgeford in the backfield. And he gives to Anderson, and Anderson dives ahead for a first down. It'll be 1st and goal, Cal.
This Cal offensive line, which is a tough group. I mean, they got some good tough guys up front, particularly that center. They are getting after this Oregon defense.
Alan Bridgeford, just the second start of his career. Under center here, trying to manage this situation that he's been thrown into with Zach Maynard out with a knee injury. Facing a BCS title contender in Oregon. C.J. Anderson, just a couple of yards there inside the 6-yard line.
And I mentioned to you about the center. That's Brian Schwenke, number 57 on the inside. And he's a tough guy.
Considered their best lineman.
Yeah, he shows up, Joe, every week. He shows up ready for a fight. And he will scrap you all day long. The more tape you watch of him, the more you like him. You want this type of guy on your team.
The pitch to Bigelow on 2nd and goal. And he is met at the 5-yard line by Michael Clay.
Really well done, though. Clay makes the tackle, but Mitchell, 27, he made the play. He forced that thing back inside and allowed for everything to kind of stack up so your help could come from the inside out. It's well done by the corner.
3rd and goal. Saw some motion that sparked Oregon's defenders to come running in.
Looked like Big Tyndall moved the right tackle.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Remember, he is starting in place of the regular right tackle, Matt Summers-Gavin. That is of great concern to Jeff Tedford, and that'll back him up.
Well, Tony Washington started to come, and then Tyndall looked like he reacted to it, or they reacted about the same time. Regardless, it sets us with 3rd down.
3rd and goal from the 10 now. Alan Bridgeford earlier tonight threw the first touchdown pass of his career, now trying to tie up this game. Ridgeford with time throws it underneath and to the outside, incomplete, looking for Jacob Warren.
Michael Clay, nice coverage, was right on top of it, and they're going to force this field goal.
Coverage on the play by number 46, Michael Clay.
Vincenzo D'Amato on for the attempt. He currently leads the Pac-12 in field goals made. 1.5 a game he puts in. 15 of 21 on the year. This attempt from 27. And D'Amato puts it through. Jeff Tedford pleased. They're within 4 of mighty Oregon.
Leads Cal 14-10. Obviously, everybody paying attention right now to that Kenyon Barner injury. We saw him go into the locker room, spent about 5 minutes in there, came back out. When he came back out, the athletic trainer wrapped his right wrist, but he did have very good movement in his finger and hands, was able to clinch and make a fist. Right now, he has a heating pack on that right wrist. The guy's been pretty emotionless. We saw Avery Patterson go off the field in tears, but as soon as Kenyon Barner came out and got that wrist taped, he grabbed his helmet. Obviously, Oregon does not give out any information, but that's at least a good sign.
No doubt, Sam. Big Boot goes for a touchback. Gives us a chance to check in with Reese Davis. What's up, Reese?
What is up, Joe, is Sports Center right now, brought to you by CDW. Texas A&M beat #1 Alabama 29-24. As you watch Johnny Manziel, check this note out. Since freshman eligibility was restored in 1972, Manziel, the first freshman quarterback, redshirt or true, to lead his team to a victory against a #1 ranked team on the road.
So impressive today was Johnny Manziel. He's going to get his name into that Heisman contender talk, along with that guy, Kenyon Barner, who got so much support this past week. First down now, as Thomas works his way to the 31-yard line. Look at him asking for help to buckle the chin strap. Remember, you noted, Matt, that that's how he realized how injured he was when he went to do that earlier tonight, and he felt the pain.
He started going out, and Chip's like, oh, not so fast. Get over here.
Instead, DeAnthony Thomas gets extended work. They're going to take a strike downfield, but the effort by Colt Learla comes up empty. He was covered by Josh Hill.
Josh Hill had a great effort running down the middle. Now, remember, when you have 2 safeties deep and 2 on the outside, they're playing quarters or halves, you have to protect the middle. What Clancy Pendergrass has done is he's taken Josh Hill and stuck him in the back, kind of stacked him. And he's playing the middle of the field, and he's doing an extremely good job.
Kenyon Barner back in, but they go with Thomas on 3rd and 3, and he is met right away. Avery Sebastian coming up and putting a solid hit on DeAnthony Thomas.
Tess, this Cal defense is playing great run defense. Not good, great. They have maintained their integrity. They're not losing relationship. They are holding their gaps continually, and they're forcing this 4th down punt.
Jackson Rice doesn't get much work being the punter for this Oregon offense, but out there again, kicking away to Chris Harper, who fields it for the fair catch at the 31. Cal fired up, getting after the Ducks offense tonight. They've got the ball when we come back.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy, and Tabasco Buffalo Style Hot Sauce with a classic buffalo flavor.
Great look at Memorial Stadium here at Cal. Recently underwent a $321 million renovation. Originally opened in 1923 to honor Berkeley students and alumni who lost their lives in World War I.
They've done a phenomenal job. This is a gorgeous venue right now.
Then you got Tightwad Hill. One of the most unique scenes in all of college football. You don't need a ticket, just get up there on the hill and look in. And what a scene they're looking in on tonight as Cal is hanging around with the Ducks. And Bigelow unable to get any traction there.
Kiko Alonso coming off the edge. You know, Kiko Alonso is one of the best blitzing linebackers in all of college football. They bring him off the edge. They bring him up the middle. He's got a great sense and feel for the blitz. And he also does a nice job in pass defense. Has himself a few picks this year.
Last year was the defensive MVP of the Rose Bowl. 2nd and 10. They get an empty look right now with Bridgeford out of the gun. They only rush 3. Bridgeford. It wasn't a good-looking pass, but it was complete to Sofele.
Nick Aliotti, their defensive coordinator for the Oregon Ducks, he's just playing a little bit in zone right there, and he's making everything throw underneath. They have not been able to get any kind of a rush without a blitz on Bridgeford.
Aliotti's in his 21st year at Oregon. One of the most respected defensive coordinators nationally. Let's see what he dials up here on 3rd and 6.
He's got Mitchell down here all by himself, man-to-man on the bottom of your screen right here.
And Front is walking up to the line. Bridgeford steps up in the pocket, goes to the near side, and overthrew the intended target as he was looking for Darius Powell.
Mitchell was all over him, number 27. That's that one-on-one we looked at. He had time to throw, not a good throw.
Deep for the Ducks, number 6, Anthony Thomas.
There's the Black Mamba, DeAnthony Thomas. One of the most exciting players in all of college football. Lininger on to punt away to him. And Thomas won't have a chance again. That Cal defense tonight trying to shut down the Oregon running game.
This Cal defense is played extremely well, and they've played with few numbers in the box. But every time you watch, you're going to see a lot of numbers. There's a lot of players around. This is a great job here by the corner, Steve Williams, forcing things back in. And then that Forbes, number 11, he showed up a bunch here tonight. That's a good football player.
Only 47 rushing yards tonight for Oregon so far on the season. Second best team in the country. And Barner, a tackle for loss by Nick Forbes.
Yes, who? That Forbes is all over the place here tonight. He's been inside when they've tried to run the inside zone. He's been able to get to the edge, and they've brought him on a couple of blitzes. Clancy Pendergrass is having a great game calling against this Oregon running game. And Oregon running game's been unstoppable all season.
2nd and 14. Mariota backs up, sets up the screen. Barner turns the corner, gets out into space, and is past the 30-yard line, out to the 31, and it was Forbes who got to him again.
Taken out of bounds by number 11, Nick Forbes.
Yeah, here's Kenyon Barner getting that hand taped up. And then they put a glove over the top of it, and he's game. Hey, sometimes you have to play with a little bit of pain, and he's willing to do it.
What a difference a week makes in terms of his stats. 3rd and 4, and that's a first down completion to Braylon Addison. So Oregon moves the chains to the 40.
This is what Clancy Pendergrass wanted to have done. He wanted the game on Mariota's shoulders to see just how Mariota would respond. I think Mariota's going to respond well. I think he's fantastic.
Now here goes Barner, working the inside for a gain of about 7.5.
Marcus Mariota, we've had the pleasure of watching this team. I think this is our 5th game that we've had him. And every game that I've seen Marcus Mariota, he's gotten better. He's gotten better as the season's progressed. I think this offensive line has gotten better as the season's gone on. But he has responded, and when they put the game on his shoulders, he's come through for them.
Play action. Colt Lyra, here he goes. The big tight end inside the 20-yard line, ducks in the red zone again.
It didn't take long at all for Mariota to be able to see the middle of the field. Again, when everybody's spread, the middle of the field's open, the tight end can get to it the fastest. Mariota found it.
And as they often do, they sprint up to the line, snap it, and Mariota diving inside the 5-yard line.
Ooh, looks like he got hurt right there, Tess. He's tapping to get out.
He is tapping to get out. He knew instantly at the end of that dive. And look at that left arm just hanging limp there as Mariota is in pain on the sideline. The starting quarterback is out, and Brian Bennett wastes no time running onto the field. The backup, who has a lot of experience, and he quickly snaps it. Bennett now looking for some room and finding nothing. They come up with a sack.
That's a shoulder. That's a shoulder. When you're holding your arm like that, that's usually a shoulder up top, and he falls right on it. He knows it right there. Yep.
Tapping out. That's just that left arm hanging down in pain. But Brian Bennett out there, the sophomore who many thought would win the starting job this offseason before Mariota came on so strong. 2nd and goal. Bennett now. To the end zone he goes, and that is incomplete. For a moment, it appeared to be into the hands of Braylon Addison, but he couldn't control it throughout.
That's a dangerous throw right there. That one's into a group. Now, Addison almost came down with it, but this thing could have easily been picked right in the middle of that crowd. Oh, boy, he almost did have that thing. There's a bunch of other stuff flopping around out there.
Avery Sebastian was in there, getting his mitts in there.
Number 4.
And now a 3rd and goal with Brian Bennett, the backup quarterback, forced into action as Mariota came off with an apparent left shoulder injury. 3rd and goal. That ball deflected and incomplete.
Let me just say this. While Brian Bennett may have been in the mix to be the starter, Mariota is clearly a better quarterback than Bennett. And this offense will not be the same with Bennett as it would be with Mariota.
Alejandro Maldonado on to attempt the field goal. As a flag came in there.
Prior to the foul for illegal substitution, timeout, Cal.
We invite you to get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN. 10 a.m. It is Sunday NFL Countdown. Chris Berman and the gang will give you all the latest news right up until kickoff. Then on ESPN2 at 11 a.m. it is Fantasy Football Now. We'll give you all the info to set your lineup for the day. Should be a fun NFL Sunday. It has been an outrageously entertaining college football Saturday with number 1 being toppled. And here we've got a little drama brewing in Berkeley with Oregon getting a tough test from Cal. Maldonado, his first field goal attempt from last year, this from 26. And he's able to put it through.
I'm just watching Marcus Mariota on the sideline right here aside of us. And there's a flag down, Tess. He doesn't look like he's doing too good. They keep testing him, and he's testing himself.
Defense, number 91 was lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. The field goal is good.
So a 7-point margin for Oregon as Jeff Tedford looks on. His defense has been playing well. They didn't break that time. Marcus Mariota and their Heisman candidate running back, Kenyon Barner. As you see Brian Bennett in the foreground there on the phone. He was pressed into action moments ago as they couldn't get in for a touchdown, settled for 3. Pesky Cal team giving them a test tonight here in Berkeley. And from the 4-yard line, this is Daniel Lasco. And he is met hard at the 16. So the injuries for Oregon, Matt. Kenyon Barner, when they were in the red zone, he was running hard on the inside. He went to buckle that chin strap and he realized that that right wrist was in serious pain. And then their starting free safety, Avery Patterson, grasping that knee and then crying as he tried to make his way to the locker room. And then Marcus Mariota instantly coming out of the game after diving and landing on that left shoulder. Sofele, gain of about 2 yards there.
Joe, there's an old adage in football, and it applies right here. It's not who you play, it's when you play them. And so this is going to severely test Chip Kelly's mantra of next man up. Kenyon Barner, Avery Patterson, Mariota, Deion Jordan, Boyette, all these guys not playing. And so the next guy has to step up, and he has high expectations, like every coach does, for whoever takes their spot.
2nd and 7. Alan Bridgeford. And Bridgeford is able to get it to Richard Rodgers, his big 6'6", 270-pound tight end.
It sets up 3rd and 1, and they're lining up quick. They only have 3 down linemen.
And Bridgeford, looks like that mark will give him the first down.
They only have 3 down linemen, and Cal's offensive line is winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. They are moving that defensive front back.
Zach Maynard with the hood there. He's the starting quarterback who left last week's game against Washington with a knee injury. So Bridgeford gets the start tonight. Sofele. Good hard running out to the 31. Tackled by Michael Clay.
They just keep on getting positive yards. Another 4 yards here. They're grinding inside, Tess. That's what they're doing. This offensive line is working on that defensive front. Mariota is trying to get that. He's getting a little bit of feel back in that left shoulder.
2nd and 6. Bridgeford pumps one way, comes back the other, but Anderson couldn't hold on to it, and a flag comes in there at the end of the play. This may be a personal foul. That was Ifo Ekpreolumu in defensively for the Ducks. Came in and laid a shoulder up high to C.J. Anderson.
Personal foul, targeting above the shoulders. Defense number 14. A 15-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
They're going to make the call. I don't know how you teach a defender anymore to tackle or even make contact.
I can't even imagine for guys of your generation, Matt, and the way you played the game, especially as a linebacker, how odd this is to see some of these calls, but it is a strong point of emphasis in football right now. The player safety. Bridgeford downfield and gets it complete. Chris Harper with a nice effort as Cal gets a big gainer down to the 32. A 22-yard reception by Harper.
Had good, decent protection. Richard is able to get rid of the ball before the edge pressure got to him, and he just locked it over the hands of the defender for the nice reception.
Brendan Bigelow on the pitch. They drew the defense inside, and Bigelow takes it to the 23-yard line, tackled by Eric Dargan, who's in playing free safety in place of the injured Avery Patterson.
They caught him in a blitz. They blitzed right into it. It was a nice call by Nick Aliotti, but they just ran right past it. That Bigelow, I like that Bigelow. I put the ball in his hands a lot more.
replaced by C.J. Anderson. The bigger back for Cal. 2nd and 1. To pass on 2nd and 1. Bridgeford. Flag is down as that's incomplete.
One thing that you've seen here from Bridgeford is he doesn't throw the ball on a line. And he puts a little bit too much air under those balls. It gives the defenders a chance to be able to get things.
Personal foul, hands to the face, offense number 57, a 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
A focused Jeff Tedford and Chip Kelly matching wits here tonight. Remember a couple years ago, 2010, Oregon only scored 15 points, snuck away with a 15-13 win here against Cal. Cal almost disrupted Oregon's unbeaten regular season march to the BCS title game. 2nd and 16. Anderson. And he's wrestled down back near the original line of scrimmage. DeForest Buckner with the tackle of C.J. Anderson.
Some concern here for the Oregon coaches and the fans. That guy's bored already. He's ready to fall asleep. A couple of yawns shouldn't be happening.
We're used to high-scoring, big first-half leads. 2.5 minutes to go. 17-10 game. 3rd down and 9. You see the struggles for Cal on 3rd down conversions so far tonight. Just 1 of 5.
No pressure out of this Oregon defense, and now a timeout.
Bridgeford is going to call a timeout. He'll go over and have a chat with Jeff Tedford.
Timeout. Cal.
Quiet night for Puddles the Duck. No push-ups right now, Puddles. Aerial coverage is being provided by MetLife. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. MetLife, I can do this. Well, tonight Cal has been able to do some things against Oregon better than most would expect. Glad you're with us here on a beautiful evening in the Bay Area. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, and Samantha Steele as Marcus Mariota looks on and sees the Cal offense threatening here. 3rd and 9. Bridgeford back to pass. Little pressure. He steps up in the pocket, launches it downfield, and that ball is incomplete, as that was Terrence Mitchell on the defensive coverage for the Ducks.
And he'll set up this field goal, but they rushed 3 and dropped 8, and Mitchell got in perfect position.
4th and 9.
A little bit of pressure, but Mitchell just does a nice job of basketballing him and getting that ball knocked away.
Vincenzo D'Amato's made 12 of his last 13. It was heading in the right direction, but then all of a sudden just stayed off to the right. 17-10 it remains as we check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Joe, just over 2 minutes away from halftime. And when that time comes, Lou Holtz, Mark May will join me. The BCS race certainly shaken up with Texas A&M beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Team standing to benefit took care of business. Notre Dame and Kansas State. UCLA, a bit of a sluggish start. The Bruins starting to pull away against Wazoo.
So much to discuss with the day we have had in this sport, and we're not done yet. As Marcus Mariota is back into the game and completes his first pass attempt after leaving the game in pain earlier. So a great sign for Oregon that he's right back out there doing his thing. Daryl Hawkins on the completion there. 2nd and 4. Mariota looking to pass again. Now he tucks, runs, and gets the first down, and that stops the clock with 1:38 remaining. They have 2 timeouts.
5-yard gain on the play. First down.
Mariota's got a $164 already. They wanted to put the Cal defense wanted to put the game on Mariota's shoulders.
Kenyon Barner in the backfield with him. Remember, they taped up that right wrist of the Heisman candidate. First down, Mariota. Looking to set up the screen, now launches it downfield and just throws it away.
Smart.
So it'll be second down. The pressure came from Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony, the corner. They bring a corner blitz off the edge. There's a nice job here tonight between Chip Kelly's play calling and Clancy Pendergrass on the other side.
2nd and 10. Here goes the Black Mamba for a first down and crossing midfield. DeAnthony Thomas, dangerous in spots like that. Quickly they snap with Cal in transition. And to the 35-yard line goes Keenan Lowe.
Caught by number 7, Keenan Lowe. There is a flag on the play.
Land Clark and his crew talking things over. Cal was substituting defensively when Mariota ran up to the line to snap that ball.
But see, that's on Cal. If Oregon doesn't do anything,
illegal substitution. Defense, the 12th man did not get off the field. That penalty is declined. The result of the play, first down.
The rule is if Oregon substitutes, then the umpire will stand over the ball and allow a substitution for the defense. But if they don't, it's on you. It's incumbent on you to be able to get in and get out on time.
And that time Lowe started to turn and didn't secure the ball.
Ball was right where it had to be for able to make the catch and get out of bounds to stop the clock.
Clancy Pendergrass was the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals in that Super Bowl, that thriller against Pittsburgh. And now here at Cal the past few years. It's an interesting week of work, he said, trying to watch all this film with Oregon. Mariota over the middle, and he gets it complete to DeAnthony Thomas, who fights his way to the 10-yard line. So just under a minute remaining. And Oregon is looking to extend their lead here.
Excellent protection.
Play action now. Look at the time for Mariota to the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon, Josh Huff.
Number 1, Josh Huff for an Oregon touchdown.
Don't blink when this offense finds their stride. In quick order, right down the field against Cal.
You mentioned it. No rush. Now watch Huff come back to the ball. That's a thing of beauty.
A
14-point game all of a sudden. 5th touchdown catch of the year for Josh Huff. Nice diving effort. Ten-yard touchdown reception by Josh Huff. 8-play drive that only took a minute 18. 24-10, Oregon. Up 14 points here against a Cal team that has been playing some inspired and focused football. Bigelow. He is met at the 22-yard line by a Yili Ford. Sunday night on ESPN and ESPNU, it is BCS Countdown presented by Vizio. And this is going to be an interesting one this week when Reese and the gang reveal the new BCS standings. Alabama was toppled. Who will be the new number 1? Will it be this Oregon team or K-State? Of course, Notre Dame did their thing against BC tonight. Oregon clearly will pick up the pieces in the human polls if they can get past Cal tonight, because they've had that support at number 2 all year long. But a tough task here against Cal, the way they're playing ball.
Nice play by Michael Clay right there. He read that thing perfectly. Now, Tess, this is not the same defense that we've seen. They got a bunch of guys hurt, and they have a bunch of reserves playing, but those reserves, they've got to pick it up and play.
Bridgeford, on what could be the last play of this first half, is able to get it complete to C.J. Anderson as we hit zeros. A 24-10 game. The average halftime score
That's the end of the first
for
half.
Oregon this year is 36-9. Let's go down to the field to Samantha. Sam?
Coach, we're used to seeing such dominant performances from your offense in the first half. What challenges has Cal presented for you tonight?
I think they're doing a good job getting off a box and making some tackles in open spaces, but we're starting to put some things together. We've had 3 really good drives. Didn't like the field goal we had there one time, but so far so good.
Obviously a lot of guys banged up on defense and now on offense. Where are you feeling it most right now?
What?
Where are you feeling the injuries most?
We don't talk about injuries, so we don't feel any.
Oh, I see how it is. Really? You're giving me nothing?
Second half.
That's all it takes. All right, thanks, Coach.
Yeah, Chip says, what injuries? He saw Barner back on the field. He saw Mariota back in the field. Unfortunately, Avery Patterson left with that apparent knee injury. Playing some tough ball tonight and getting a tough test. 24-10, Oregon. Let's join Reese, Mark, and Lou back in the studio for the college football halftime report. Mariota pumps one way over the middle and a touchdown. The end zone. Is he in? Yes. Kenyon Barner and Marcus Mariota. Last week, Barner had 321 rushing against USC. Tonight, left injured for a moment, only 25 yards in that first half. Mariota also left in pain at one point. He came back in. He had 2 touchdown passes in the first half. Alan Bridgeford will look to get Cal back into this game, trailing 24-10. Oregon to receive to start the second half. Keenan Lowe on the return. Keenan Lowe finds a seam and still on his feet, crossing midfield, weaving back to the center and all the way to the 35-yard line. A big return by Keenan Lowe of 60 yards. MetLife getting it done. That last drive before the half by Mariota.
And to me, Joe, who was getting it done was Marcus Mariota and the offensive line. He had time, he bought time, and because he had the protection, he was able to find it and get it done with that last touchdown.
It only took a minute 18. They run option to the near side. The pitch to Barner, and once again, he is met by Steve Williams. These defensive backs for Cal have done their job in the run game tonight.
Tess, you and I said at the start of the game that these corners had to be a factor in the run game, and they have. Mark Anthony on one side, Williams on the other have done a fantastic job of tackling or forcing things back in.
Backs him up to a 2nd and 14. Barner again, and this time he is met by DeAndre Coleman.
They wanted to be able to put the game on the shoulders of Marcus Mariota, and in the first half he responded with 222 yards. Here's a 3rd down to start this 3rd quarter. Let's see what he does.
3rd and 9. Anthony Thomas is in the slot to Mariota's right. He looks that way. He goes to him. It was thrown low, and it forced Thomas to go to a knee. So they will be short. It's a 4th down. Chip Kelly doesn't even hesitate in spots like this. Just call the next play. He often says science over tradition. 4th and 4. Line to make is the 25. Mariota. Thomas
didn't get it.
He didn't get it. This is going to be a turnover on downs based on that spot of the ball.
And that one, you'd have to say, is on DeAnthony Thomas. because he did not get the yardage at the sticks. He was right in front of him. He needed one more yard. The ball was where it had to be. But the Cal Bears make it turn over. Now watch. He has to know exactly where it's at. See, he needed to set down between those two defenders a yard deeper.
That was Chris McCain, the outside backer. Steve Williams, the cornerback. With a turnover on downs to start the second half. So Fele, as he dives ahead to the 31. Let's check in with Samantha Steele. Sam?
Yeah, Tess, I caught up with Jeff Tedford and asked him what his biggest concern was. He said what every coach that plays Oregon says, we have to limit explosion plays. So I asked him how you do that. He said we need to be much more disciplined with our eyes and get after the quarterback a whole lot more. Expect them to bring a lot of pressure here in the second.
They've been disciplined tonight, Sam. And now they're trying to close the gap a bit here as they have an opportunity. So Fele's going to be just short. It'll be 3rd and 1 as he was tackled by Michael Clay. But that defense for Cal, they have played well so far.
They've done a great job of getting off blocks. They just haven't been able to rush the passer. But that notwithstanding, as we go to this is a big 3rd down right here for this Cal offense. This offensive line has been very physical.
Brendan Bigelow, the tailback in the I formation on 3rd and 1. Instead, they go to the fullback, and Eric Stevens powers ahead, and he looks to have the necessary yardage.
And he went right behind my guy Schwenke inside, that center. I like that kid.
He's Brian Schwenke, number 57, firing off.
Yeah, he's got some good toughness to him, and he doesn't quit. He keeps on going till the whistle.
First down, Cal. Alan Bridgeford, just the second start of his career. First start, he went in because Zach Maynard was serving a first-quarter suspension against Nevada. This week, it was Bridgeford prepping all week long with Maynard unable to practice much with the knee injury. Takes a shot in the crossing route to Maurice Harris. And the Bears cross midfield to the 45.
Nice protection. The same thing that has been plaguing the Cal Bears is plaguing the Oregon Ducks. They can't get a pass rush without bringing a blitz.
Zach Maynard looks on as Bridgeford leads the team tonight. And keep it on the ground. C.J. Anderson with a gain of 10.
It's all about numbers, Tess. They get to the line of scrimmage. You see the box. You see the numbers are light. You run right at it. Most of the time you're looking at those safeties, and they have 2 safeties deep. They only have 5 or 6 up in front. You run at it.
Tempo now by Cal. Little run blitz by Oregon, and Anderson able to find space off the left tackle to the 30-yard line. Late flags come in at the end of that.
Joe, a week ago against USC, you saw an Oregon defense that did not tackle very well, and that's starting to show up here again. They look like they're catching blocks. They're not as aggressive as this Cal defense is.
It's a great way to describe it, catching blocks.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, offense, number 77. A 15-yard penalty. The down will count, 2nd down.
Let's show you what happened at the end of this play. Watch Tyler Rigsby coming in late there. At 290 pounds crashing in at the end of that play. So it backs it up to the 45-yard line. As they tack it on, it'll be 2nd down from there, but the line to make is the 25, so 2nd and 20. So Fele, he makes it with ease with a good block downfield from Warren.
They're crushing him. Cal offensive line is just getting after it. Nice and physical. Watch the fullback. He kicks it out, and then they just moved that whole defensive front to the tune of 31 yards, Tess.
So Fele again. It'll be 1st and goal, Cal.
Came with a blitz this time. They picked the blitz up. Kiko Alonso on the inside, he gets picked up, and then this is just excellent blocking. Cefali's to the 2nd level, nobody's touching him. That means the defensive front is getting blown out by that Cal offensive line.
Turnover on downs on one end. And now the Bears playing inspired run driving, blocking up front right into the end zone. E.C. Sofele. What a statement drive to open up this second half by Cal.
Tyler Rigsby, who just had that penalty, redeemed himself by just blowing away anybody who is standing in front of him. Nicely done. See big 77 there? He just mauled them. They have mauled that Oregon defensive front.
Kelly take that glance to the scoreboard. And a margin that he's not familiar with in spots like this. A team with a losing record within a touchdown in the second half.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
24-17. Squib kick here. Oregon with a real challenge tonight against this feisty Cal team, and that was DeForest Buckner corralling that kickoff there. Let's go back to the Cal touchdown moments ago.
I want you to watch Stevens, number 48. He's going to take force. And then you just follow the Rigsby boys on the inside. Tyler, 77, who's a senior, and his freshman brother, Jordan, just follow the bouncing linemen into the end zone. They just cleared the way extremely well. As Jim Mahalchik, the offensive line coach, he's got to be pleased with what he's seen out of that offensive line.
And Jan Barner now trying to respond after Cal had such success running the ball right down the throat of that Oregon defense.
You saw Kenyon Barner. Of course, he hurt his wrist or hand in the first half, but he really has been a non-factor in this game. This Cal front seven has taken the run game away, and that's what they've wanted to do.
2nd and 5. Barner trying to find a little bit of room, but it'll be 3rd and about 3.
You know, what looks different out of this offensive line and this running game tonight is they don't look as aggressive as they did a week ago.
Barner again, and he gets the first down as Barner is able to get it to the 42-yard line, tackled by Chris McCain.
Cal wanted to be able to push the ball to the edges. They wanted their corners to be able to make the tackles, and they've done that tonight. It looks now like this Oregon team wants to try to exploit the inside of this thing with this inside zone.
Mariota pulls it out now, and Mariota looking over options, trying to extend the play, and then he throws it away as there was some late pressure by Brennan Scarlett and Chris McCain.
That was smart, though, by Mariota. Just get out of it, live for another down, go to 2nd down.
Brennan Scarlett tracking down Mariota that time. He's actually from Oregon. He went to Central Catholic in Portland. Wide receiver screen now. This is Addison, and they're getting right on top of him as well. A tackle for a loss that time of 5 yards. Jalen Jefferson was the first to contain him, and then the rest of his teammates came in.
Back to the 37-yard line, 3rd.
Heck, he ran 5 yards before he moved the yard. He ran backwards, forwards in a circle.
Turnover on downs on their first possession of this second half, and now Jeff Tedford's defense has them in a hole here. A 3rd and 15 for Mariota. Flag is down at the snap.
False start. Offense, number 15. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's the tight end, Lyerla, who had the opening touchdown catch of the night.
So it's 3rd and 20. It's not like you go to your third, no, let's get our 3rd and 20 call. There really isn't one.
They got those fleet feet, Speedy Ducks. Barner, flag is down right in the middle of that offensive line as Barner couldn't find any room at all. He was tackled by Nick Forbes.
Going to be a hold, and they'll decline it.
It's Jeff Tedford.
Holding. Offense number 60. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
So let's bring on the punt return team. And how about this defense for Cal? Fans here have seen some struggles this year. A team dealing with so many injuries. But tonight, they are playing good, solid football against the most dangerous offense in the country. Rice on to punt. Chris Harper back at the 24. There's a booming kick shot. And it drives Harper way back. Great special teams coverage that time. As he's tackled at the 12. But that Cal defense with Chris McCain doing their job well.
To learn more.
That is the Walt Disney Family Museum in nearby San Francisco, established in 2009. We're talking a lot about honoring the past and our veterans and Veterans Day here. Well, Walt Disney himself once drove officers and supplies across the northern France in an ambulance while working as a Red Cross volunteer in the aftermath of World War I. There's Avery Patterson. He left earlier tonight with an injury. He's on crutches now, the starting safety for the Oregon defense. They used him on that last Cal drive. They came right down the field in 9 plays, covering 74 yards to close within 7 of the unbeaten BCS title-seeking Ducks. Here's Sofeli again, and another 1st down with that Cal running game. ESPN is joining the USO to give the USO wish book to send gifts that'll help the spirits of our troops and their families. You can go to www.uso.org/ESPN. USO wish book is a way to let our heroes and their families know that we support them.
Test the left side. These Rigsby boys, they are punching holes in whoever lined up in front of them. Between them and Schwanke, they're having a nice night.
Bridgeford to throw on 1st down, and that was incomplete as Ekpre Olemu was covering Chris Harper.
Ekpre Olemu, at the beginning of the season, everybody had a little bit of worry about him. But through this season, one thing has stood strong, and that's been Ekpre Olemu. He has gotten better. He has been a guy you can count on, and he's a guy that they take chances with. That coverage right there, they just had him locked up on Harper all by himself, one-on-one.
Bigelow to the near side as they go right down the line and contain Brendan Bigelow.
Yeah, nicely done holding the edge. Tyson Coleman came up there, did a really good job, number 33 on the outside. Mitchell also the corner, and that'll set up this 3rd and long. And now this is where they have not been able to get a rush unless they've blitzed.
Empty as Bridgeford faces a 3rd and 9. Wide receiver screen is set up, but that ball is intercepted. That is Lacombo.
Lacombo.
What a costly mistake from Alan Bridgeford. Eric Armstead was getting in and pressuring him. They looked to set up the tunnel screen, but Boseko Lacombo stepped right in front. And Tedford's team makes a mistake. We'll see if it costs them.
Watch Eric Armstead. They're only going to rush 3 guys. And what they're doing is they're going to allow the rushers to come in, so they turn him free. Well, Armstead gets there so quick and gets his hands up, forces the poor throw.
Armstead just launched Bridgeford there. And now, in quick order, is Josh Huff. Sudden change, sudden impact, touchdown, Oregon.
Well, that didn't take long, did it, Tess?
Just the way they like it, Matt.
Josh Huff got between the safety and the corner, and the throw has to be right on. And Mariota got the ball there. Huff did the rest. Shook a tackle, 6 quick.
Just when Cal had found some momentum here in the 3rd quarter. The interception. And then, as Chip Kelly always preaches, make it count. .31 points. Oregon now sets the NCAA record of consecutive games scoring over 30 points. They have scored over 30 in 23 straight games.
They did it on the arm of Mariota, and his eyes were able to get them the score because he recognized the blitz.
Marcus Mariota, in a game which he left in pain, comes back in. 3 touchdown throws tonight, 20 of 26. Bigelow now on the return. Brendan Bigelow. Nice looking return by Bigelow. Midfield. He's got a lot of speed. And Cal is right back in business, as it took Derek Malone Jr. to track down Bigelow.
Let's get back to this touchdown and show you what happened. Remember, I said the eyes of Mariota. He's going to notice this. There's going to come with a blitz. So he has to get the ball out here. So he swings him to hold the corner, and then Huff is able to get here and beats the safety, and then shakes the tackle, and it's in the end zone. But that all starts because Mariota knows what he has, recognizes the blitz, and throws to the spot. That's really well done.
So Pele fumbles the ball, and it's a pile-on. A flag is down in the backfield as he fumbled it forward. And you see they're trying to clear that pile.
Good job by the officials jumping in there.
The Cal player coming out with it. That's big Jordan Rigsby. Doesn't have a helmet, but he's got the ball.
That's right. Rigsby, hey, he knows one thing. He may be coming out with... all he's going to have is one thing. That's the ball. Everything else didn't matter.
Tony Washington was the defensive end who forced that fumble for Oregon.
It's like Brian Jackson got his hand in there also.
Foul, tripping. Offense, number 77. A 15-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
The other Rigsby, as they will mark
Number
it back.
73's helmet came off. He'll have to leave the game for 1 play.
As we've become accustomed to with the new rule in college football this year.
It's Tyler Rigsby, 77. You're going to see him right there with the leg whip. It's kind of a weak, like, I don't know, Tess. I've done better ones than that.
We know that. 1st and 25. Empty set here for Bridgeford. And Maurice Harris to the 41-yard line. Line to make is all the way up there at the 24 after that penalty.
Yeah, they get themselves another 7 yards or so in this down. They'll be able to make it 3rd and manageable.
2nd and 17. C.J. Anderson in the backfield with Bridgeford.
They're going to run at it. It's a light box right now again. 2 safeties deep. People are spread out. Look at the numbers on the inside. You only have 5 inside.
That's what they do with C.J. Anderson. Only able to get to the 36-yard line, so it'll be 3rd and about 12 here.
One guy they could usually really use right now is that man right there, Keenan Allen. He is a big-time receiver and a big-time playmaker, and they're missing that in this offense here tonight. Although Safili's done a pretty good job at 132 yards in his back pocket. Big 3rd down.
And a timeout called by Cal. Trailing by 14, facing a 3rd and long when we return to Berkeley. Regulation so far,
it's amazing
this season.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers have quietly gotten better as the season has gone on. Pittsburgh is playing very well, and that defense is coming on again.
They're 3rd and 12. Bridgeford, he was pressured, and that is incomplete. That was Tony Washington. They only brought 3, and yet Washington was able to get to Bridgeford.
Yeah, Washington, number 91, off the top as a right defensive end. You're going to watch him. He's right up top. They're going to go for it here on 4th down, which would make sense. But he got pressure on Rigsby. Ooh, it looks like he had a nice straight arm under the chin and got him up in the air, and then came back underneath. 4th down, they're going for it.
4th and 12. And then no man's land of the 36-yard line. Line to make is the 24.
They've had a little success here, rushing 3 and dropping 8. Looks like that's going to be the recipe in this one also.
Now they sneak up to the line, and they bring more than that. So here comes the blitz on 4th and 12. They launch it downfield, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Chris Harper.
You're right, Tesh. They rolled the dice. Nick Aliotti brings 5, goes man-to-man on the outside, and Bridgeford just feels the pressure over the head of Harper. He feels it right here. Just lets the ball go just a little bit. He doesn't throw it on a line. He had to throw with a touch there, but that was too much air.
You see the end of that play.
That Preloro, again, he's turned into a good player for Oregon.
And like a surgeon, Mariota slicing the middle of that defense. Mariota now 21 of 27 on the night.
270 yards. I could not be more impressed with Marcus Mariota. This
As
kid,
we have said all year, right?
So that thing had to be on a line, and he did it.
Reversing field now is Kenyon Barner, and then cutting back a flag down at the 48-yard line.
Cal's defensive front has continued to just be tough, but I want you to watch this on the line. Look at that.
10-yard penalty.
How about the umpire having a duck?
Right over the umpire's shoulder. All he heard was a whiz when right past his ear.
Holding call there on Colt Lyola, so that'll back them up to the 39. Marcus Mariota came in tonight. His completion percentage just over 70%, higher than Sam Bradford's NCAA freshman record. 1st and 20. Mariota swings it out of the backfield to Barner, and Barner with one stiff arm as he makes his way out to the 46-yard line.
Tess, you know what's so impressive about Marcus Mariota? He goes through his progressions like a veteran. I mean, he sees the field, he anticipates where routes are going to be, he understands his offense, and he's flawless in the pocket in terms of mechanics, and also, my favorite, poise. The guy's got great poise.
2nd and 13. Barner trying to get free there, and he's taken down just past midfield at the 47.
Should set up 3rd and about 7-ish.
So those rushing numbers for Oregon moments ago, well below their average on the year. Mariota's been fine, but the run defense of Cal has been superb tonight. 3rd and 6. Mariota looking over his options, now running it himself and getting the first down.
He is so good. Everybody's talking about Johnny Manziel, and they should be, because he's had a phenomenal year. Marcus Mariota, he has been playing as good or better. Now, look, the rushing yards, you take a look at what I want you to remember. Mariota's only played about half the games, because at halftime, he's out, except for one game a week ago.
And Manziel's been playing these thrillers. They've been capturing the attention of the country. He's going to take a shot downfield, and money it is again to Josh Huff.
For an Oregon touchdown.
Marcus Mariota just graduated into a full-blown stud.
This is just a superb outing by Mariota tonight.
They wanted to put the game on the shoulders of the quarterback. That was the plan for the Cal defense. Well, they got their wish. And Mariota now has thrown for 300. I don't know what he has. He's got, what do you have, 320 maybe?
319 yards. Tack on another touchdown pass. And Josh Huff with his 3rd of the night. 4 touchdowns for Mariota. As all of a sudden, Oregon extends that lead to 38-17. Tuesday night on ESPN, State Farm Champions Classic. Going to be from the Georgia Dome, which will be the site of the Final Four this year. First at 7 p.m. Number 14 Michigan State against number 7 Kansas. Then at 9, how about this for a headliner? Duke, number 8 against Kentucky, defending champs. They haven't squared off in 10 years. That's the State Farm Champions Classic. Tuesday on ESPN. Watch ESPN and also in 3D. Big night for Josh Huff. 109 yards and 3 touchdowns. Squib kick takes a bounce at the 20. And the up back goes up and over to the 30-yard line. That is Jacob Wark.
Let's show you this test. First of all, great protection inside. Okay, so Mariota's got a lot of time. But I want you to watch this safety. He gets caught flat-footed. They're going to run this route. It's a tandem route. One's going to break out. One's going to go. And that's going to be Huff. And this safety right here, watch his feet. Right there, he's dead. Waited too long to get out of his back pedal. Huff runs right past him. Nice protection. Mariota 6.
And the last 3 receptions for Josh Huff all went for touchdowns. He now has 5 touchdowns in his last 2 games. C.J. Anderson. 4 yards there, tackled by Kiko Alonso.
He ended up about 8 yards down the field, but they're marking him at about maybe a 3-yard gain.
We had a visit with Chip Kelly earlier tonight where he was talking about everybody watching that Alabama game and Texas A&M and how his kids would react. And they woke up here in the second half. 2nd and 6 now, Bridgeford. And he goes incomplete there as he was trying to find Richard Rodgers. And Tyson Coleman had the coverage on Rodgers.
Number 33, Tyson Coleman.
One thing about Chip Kelly, he knows his team really, really well. And he reads his team very, very well. And so when he came in talking about that, they were aware of the Alabama upset. There was a buzz, you know, over an opportunity here. And then he got his team together and said, listen, you have a tough game sitting in front of you. Forget all the things that are going on the outside. You need to pay attention to this Cal team because they're good enough to beat you.
3rd down and 6. Pressure on Bridgeford as he launches it up, and it was almost intercepted. That was James Scales coming in there.
Scales did a nice job from the center of the field. He eyeballed that thing on Bridgeford the whole time, went all the way back. Buckner, number 44, he's the one who got some pressure on him initially. Now watch Scales. Ooh, that should have been a pick rather. That should have been a pick. He had it in his chest and instead of his hands, and that's what happens.
Lininger rugby style. He bounces inside the 40. They've been keeping that ball away from DeAnthony Thomas all night.
Lininger's punt goes out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
To think that Marcus Mariota left this game at one point, and we didn't know if he would return from the injury, as he has been as smooth as can be all this since coming back into the game after he was in pain, reaching for that left shoulder.
And Tess, the thing that's been most impressive is when he's had to run, he's done it.
Now Kenyon Barner with a 10-yard run to the 45-yard line. Barner himself was in pain earlier tonight, left the game, went to the locker room. The medical staff was able to wrap him up and get him back out there to join that superb freshman from Honolulu, Hawaii. Now Barner past midfield.
Marcus Mariota, he'll fit any superlative you throw on him, but the one that I like the most is his toughness, and he really showed that here tonight.
Hard to believe that Johnny Manziel was once a verbal commitment to Oregon. Same recruiting class as Marcus Mariota. Could you imagine the Texas A&M hotshot and Mariota would have been here at Oregon together competing for playing time?
One of them would be a receiver right now.
That's right. 2nd and 4. Barner patiently waiting, and then he was met right at the line of scrimmage.
Down by number 91, DeAndre Coleman.
Remember a few years ago, oh, there's a flag right now, Tess. Remember a few years ago when they were going with this pace, a high pace, and they tried to slow things down, and then they had one of the defensive linemen fall down and have an injury, so to speak, and they made a big deal about it. We haven't seen much of that since then. And of course now there is a real live injury.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 40. A 15-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
That's Avery Sebastian, their free safety.
He's a good hitter too, good physical kid.
He is a hard hitter. Had a big game earlier this year, a 14 tackle game in his first start. He's had a few moments tonight. Of course, a few years ago, feigning injuries, as you said, was the big topic here. That 2010 game when they held Oregon in check. And this is the type of stuff we saw. A big defensive lineman, that's Aaron Tripodi, who's still on the team, wears number 50 now, looking over to the sideline as if to get instructions to do this. All of a sudden, fall on the football. Faking an injury. Later, an assistant coach admitted that he instructed players to go down. He's no longer on the team, that coach. He was later suspended for a game. Yes, that's a good sign to see Sebastian coming off the field.
Well, that Aaron Tripodi is one tough sucker. I like him. He shows up to play each and every week, and he brings his hard hat and his lunch pail, because if you're going to play against him, you're going to play for 60 minutes. He plays tough physical football.
Five personal fouls assessed to Cal tonight. First down at the 35. Beautiful night here in the Bay Area. Mariota looking for more and finding it inside the 20 to DeAnthony Thomas.
Lots of time to throw. This offensive line for Oregon's done a superb job here tonight. They've given him tons of time to throw, and his receivers have been able to get open. Nice separation all night long.
Keeps it himself and gets to the 15-yard line. He means so much to this team. Chip Kelly said, as poised as any guy I've ever been around, and he is leading the way again. looking to get Oregon
the third quarter
to 10-0 and potentially become the #1 team in the country when the BCS standings are released tomorrow night.
The NASCAR Chase for the Sprint Cup at Phoenix, tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
Tower from up above Berkeley. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, and Samantha Steele. Oregon, are they set to be the #1 team in the country in the new BCS standings? They open up the fourth quarter with a run of only a yard by Kenyon Barner, well below their season average, and production running the ball on a night when Marcus Mariota has been the star. 335 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 24 of 30. 3rd and 5. Here's Mariota again. A first down and a touchdown. Colt Lyerla. 5th touchdown pass of the night for the calm and cool Islander.
You forgot to mention tough.
Is he ever?
He's a tough sucker, man. I am a huge Marcus Mariota fan. He is just flawless, mechanically sound, accurate, great poise like we mentioned, got great toughness. They put the game on his shoulders and he's responded.
And he just broke yet another offensive record. 45 points on the night. 13 straight games now scoring at least 42 points. That's the most in college football history. (45-17). Matt, 21 unanswered points by Oregon in a game where Cal is doing what they wanted to do. Committed to stopping the run. They're playing focused and disciplined football.
But 2 things happened, Tess. Number 1, the offensive line took control and got on a roll, and that allowed Marcus Mariota to be able to throw for 300 and whatever it is, 50 yards.
Bigelow mishandled that. And then he spins past the 25-yard line. Everybody talks about Barner and D'Anthony Thomas. Flag is down there, and you know how spectacular these running backs are. But all year long, it's been the consistency of Mariota that impresses.
It really is, and he has been what he's needed to be all season long. At the start of the season, they didn't really ask him to do too much. They kind of controlled it a little bit. But as the season's unfolded and games have gotten bigger, and here in this Cal game, running game is taken away. Cal defensive front took the run game away completely. They put it on Mariota's shoulders. He's been spectacular here tonight.
Face mask called there against Oregon, so they mark off the 15 yards on a weekend when the golden opportunity is here for Marcus Mariota and the Ducks. Alabama lost to Texas A&M, so there's K-State, Oregon, and Notre Dame all trying to get in position, be in the driver's seat. Brad Edwards, our BCS expert, as we look at the Vizio BCS standings, says, listen, Notre Dame's going to be 3 when they announce this at 8:30 tomorrow. Question is, does Oregon jump to #1? Human polls have always had Oregon #2, so you would assume that they take that role in the human polls, which would represent 2/3 of the formula that Alabama enjoyed. And would that be enough to get ahead of K-State to #1? Bottom line is, you just want to be in the top 2. You want to play for it all. And Brad Edwards says right now that's Oregon and K-State that will hold those positions when we get the new standings tomorrow night.
Now what's going to happen? Now, 2 things have gone on here with this Oregon team. 2 areas of this offense have gotten better progressively as the season's gone on. 1 has been their quarterback, Marcus Mariota. 2 has been the play of their offensive line. You saw that tonight as how they protected him. Now what's gotten a little bit weaker has been their defense rather, and particularly in the front, because of injury. They will get healthy here in the next 2 weeks. And in the beginning of the season, this defense was playing extremely well.
3rd and 6. Bridgeford. That is intercepted as Brian Jackson is returning it inside the 30.
Brian Jackson's just playing safety, and he's eyeballing wherever Bridgewater's going to throw that ball. You can see him right up top here. They're going to come. They're bringing 4, and actually kind of 5, but the safety's just reading the eyeballs, and it's an errant throw, and Jackson picks it off and takes it in.
Can he add to his night? Look for Will Murphy in the end zone.
Waited just a little bit too long. Murphy had it, and then Williams closed on the ball when the ball hung a tad. Nicely done by Williams.
$18 interceptions, 2 more tonight. 2nd best in the country. Bridgeford, you knew it would be a tough challenge for him. 9 of 21. Here's Bridgeford as he got the start with Zach Maynard being injured last week, unable to go.
False start. Offense number 74, a 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Big Kyle Long with the false start. That's his 2nd one of the night. Kyle Long's made a difference in this offensive line in their physicality, and he's made the center better. He's made both tackles better. He's just figuring it out too. He's going to get better as this year goes on.
Marshall just spins for about 1.5 yards, tackled by Nathan Broussard.
You mentioned it earlier with Kyle Long. You know, he's played tackle. He played 1 year at junior college and then came here. He's been learning the offense. He got tackled down, and then they moved him just 2 weeks ago to guard. And
moved him to guard. How about moving from baseball to football?
Yeah. Oh,
he was
an
a
awesome
pitcher at Florida State, gave up baseball and came into the family business. Chris Long's little brother, Howie's son.
Diane's son.
I stand corrected. Little screen set up here on 3rd and 13. Look at how fast DeAnthony Thomas is.
He cuts at full speed. He is so impressive.
1st and goal, Ducks again.
I want you to watch the cuts, okay? They're almost imperceptible because they're so quick and so fast. He is just impressive.
Mariota to the end zone. Blocked. Oh. Touchdown.
That's number 6.
Will Murphy. So with that, Marcus Mariota is, watch how he bobbled this for a moment, and then Murphy, right before it hit the turf, scoops it up.
Wow.
And rolls under it.
He got his hands under it. That's impressive. Great
Oregon record
concentration.
for touchdown passes in a game is 6. Darren Thomas, Joey Harrington, Danny O'Neill, and now add the name Marcus Mariota. 6 touchdown passes on 27 of 34 passing. Oh, what a night for Marcus Mariota. 52-17.
LSF Sport, an entirely new pursuit.
Some of our heroes from around the world sporting their school colors. Veterans Day weekend. Game Day did an outstanding job this morning getting the day started, and we've seen so many great scenes throughout the day. 52-17, 28 unanswered points by Oregon on a night when Cal was playing well early, especially defensively. We had ourselves a game in the first half and a bit into the 3rd quarter. Just like that, Oregon has the ability to break it wide open. so explosive. Also want to honor 3 people on our crew who are veterans. Freddie Clow was a staff sergeant in the Air Force, our ops producer. And Randy Mills, we thank him for his service in the Air National Guard. One of the great veterans of our business. There's Bobby Joyner on camera 3.
Bobby.
Former sergeant in the Army. And of course, Matt, I know your family so greatly affected. Your son serving our country in the Army, a West Point grad, as well as your son-in-law. First down run here by C.J. Anderson. And of course, we're here at Memorial Stadium honoring those who gave their lives in World War I, the Great War. They built this in the 20s, and recently a renovation that is just magnificent. College football finale, the day that impacted the season, with Alabama being taken down by Johnny Manziel in Texas A&M, and kind of clears the traffic for the express lane for K-State and Oregon. Notre Dame, Brad Edwards says, will be number 3 in the standings. Chris Harper on the reverse was taken down all the way back at the 29 by Tyson Coleman.
Nicely done by Tyson Coleman. You know, your rule always is stay deep as the deepest, and he saw him and he slipped a block and was able to make the tackle, but Coleman turned this into a 3rd and 14. That was a big time play.
Lost 11 yards, so a 3rd and 14 from the 29. Allen Bridgeford just 9 of 21 passing tonight as they go with the delay here. So Fede only gets the 31, tackled by Michael Clay.
And Michael Clay came up limping a little bit, but he must have had man coverage or something on him, because as soon as they had that handoff, he went right for it. Really a nice read by Michael Clay, who's one of those guys, Joe. We talked about him earlier. He's just a good football player. Excellent instincts, always around the football, always making tackles.
He's been dealing with a tender hamstring this year. As Lininger's punt gets just inside the 30. We'll see who plays quarterback for Oregon when they get back out there. Scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $2.9 million in scholarship monies. Of course, Oregon helps out when they're averaging 54 points a game, and 52 on the board here as Brian Bennett is in at quarterback, replacing Marcus Mariota. And Marshall get that leg drive going. Brian Bennett, he came in earlier tonight, and many were probably thinking, boy, he's going to get extended playing time, as Mariota was in a lot of pain with that left shoulder. Bennett came in, couldn't get them across the goal line. They settled for a field goal. Mariota comes in, throws 6 touchdown passes on the night as he came back in. But Bennett's a guy who's gotten a lot of playing time. Runs a run option personnel package that we often see with Colt Wyola in the backfield. He had battled Mariota all offseason for the starting job. And the night comes to an end. A smile on the face of Marcus Mariota. Chip Kelly says seemingly unflappable is Mariota.
You know, Tess, on the bottom you saw tie school record. Well, in the seasons to come, you're going to see a lot of those things, because he's going to break, tie, do all kinds. He's going to smash the records that are up there at Oregon. He is just an extremely talented kid. He's got great size, great mobility. He's understanding and learning the game. He's got a great football mind. He's got the whole package.
Bennett now. And Bennett able to get to the edge for a couple of yards. But to think that Marcus Mariota and Johnny Manziel have 3 years of eligibility after this.
That's good for college football.
I mean, really. I mean, you think about some of the issues that college basketball faces, where you get to know their stars in February, March, they're gone, one and done. Mariota and Manziel 3 more years after this?
They're
already accomplishing what they are?
They have the potential to have that. I have a feeling Marcus Mariota won't be here for 3 more years.
Here is Marshall on the pitch. And Marshall gets it out close to midfield. It'll be 3rd and a long one. He's got the winter cap on. It's got a little chilly here as we've gone deeper into the night in Berkeley. Pretty impressive. Led the way against USC with that run game last week. And he set the school record with 730 yards of total offense in that display against the Trojans. The other part of the equation, first down run.
The other part of the equation with him, Tess, is he is such a great kid. Marcus Mariota is a humble guy. He's a guy who is a great teammate. Teammates love him. He's garnered the respect of his teammate as the season's gone on, and he's become a leader. He's just a redshirt freshman.
Bryant Bennett out there now. And as the clock counting down here in this 4th quarter, first down run option to the near side. Bennett will pitch to Marshall, and Marshall cuts it upfield and still on his feet, driving to the 31-yard line. You know, one of the other attention grabbers this week, talk about speed on the field. Did you see Sam Gordon, the 9-year-old girl from Salt Lake City, Utah, plays in the Gremlin League youth football alongside all boys? 35 touchdowns, over 1,900 rushing yards, 8.2 yards per carry. You know, SportsCenter played this up big, becoming a YouTube sensation. Chip Kelly loves speed. Sam Gordon's got speed for a 9-year-old. And throwing it back there to Blake Stanton, and he got upended. Wow! I mean, he went airborne there.
Bennett's lateral to number 11.
Just as long as he came down with all his body parts. Look, watch this. He's going to try to jump over this thing. Oh, man.
Samantha Steele's down there on the sideline.
I am, Tess. Sorry, I was admiring that hit. Actually, Sam Gordon puts some hits on guys. She plays both ways. I mean, she is a coach's favorite. Uh-oh, big run here. And I'm about to get hit. So
there you are, Sam.
Here's the crazy thing. You talked about Sam Gordon. She is famous worldwide now. I was actually throwing the ball around earlier in the night tonight, and Chip Kelly was talking about Sam Gordon. I actually had another coach walk up and say, "You're kind of like Sam Gordon." So I guess I would be happy to be compared to Sam, even though she's 9 years old. She's making me very proud to have that name, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the fact that 3 broadcasters and an entire coaching staff know the name Sam Gordon tells you the world we live in nowadays. Instant celebrity. Marshall struggles to get past the line of scrimmage. Under 5 minutes to play. The door opened up for Oregon this afternoon. Texas A&M knocking off Alabama. And now K-State, Oregon, and Notre Dame wait to see the new BCS standings.
Well, Tess, you and I have been talking about this a bunch of times, and I thought before that Oregon was the best team out there.
And they passed the eye test, and I think everybody's agreed with that. The human polls have always had Oregon number 2 to Alabama. The computer's the reason why Oregon's been behind K-State, because of the boost that the Big 12 gives K-State according to the computers. Remaining schedules: K-State at Baylor and then Texas, Stanford, Oregon State, plus the Pac-12 championship for Oregon, the USC showdown for Notre Dame. But with that remaining schedule for Oregon, all the experts, Brad Edwards, have said that should give them the boost to get ahead of K-State. Now with Alabama losing, well, you're in the top 2 to begin with. As that ball was deflected and then caught for a touchdown by B.J. Kelly. So they add to it. But by all accounts, they were expected with that schedule to get ahead of K-State. Now with Alabama losing, it's taken care of for them.
one fly in the ointment, and not that they're ahead of them, but there's the third team. That Notre Dame team is a good football team.
So it goes off the hands of Farrell Brown and into the midst of B.J. Kelly. 59 points. They averaged 54 on the season. And in a game where they started slow, boy, are they finishing with a punch.
There's still time to enter the sixth.
Seven touchdown passes. Ties the school record. Point per second production. What a pace. Bigelow on the return for Cal. Of course, ESPN College Football is available anytime, anywhere on your computer, your mobile device. WatchESPN.com. You got the Watch ESPN app. Great on these Saturdays. Sit back, monitor everything that's going on. Of course, in the weekends to come, everything's going to be funneling towards that BCS title game. Who will be playing in it? Oregon's going to be in the driver's seat. When we see these BCS standings tomorrow, be breaking into that top two according to Brad Edwards. K-State expected to be there. Who will have the number 1 next to their name is the question. And how will things play out for Notre Dame? Daniel Lasco now getting some playing time in the backfield for Cal.
And some tough games left on Oregon's schedule. But you know the thing that I would like to see? I would like to see Jeff Tedford have a healthy team. I think he's a very good coach, and I think this team would be pretty darn good if he could get some health to it. They've just been decimated by injuries right now, so this is just a shadow of what it could be, but schematically it's really good, and they do some good tough things.
Daniel Lasco with a good burst. And you know, some critics point to Tedford's last 3 years in conference play, just 9-16, didn't go to 9-17 here, but you know, a 2-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year, the all-time winningest coach at Cal. They averaged nearly 8 wins per season under Tedford in his first 10 seasons here. His 11th year now at Cal, and he said to us yesterday, he said, I've never had to deal with anything like what we're dealing with this year. You look across, I mean, without their starting quarterback tonight, without their best player, the All-American wide receiver Keenan Allen, this has been a real challenge. Ball is fumbled there, and it is recovered by Oregon.
Look, he didn't forget how to be a good coach. The game didn't pass him by. He's a good coach. He's one of the best ones out there. He just needs to get healthy, and he's going to be fine.
Keenan Allen back there. Yep. He's an outstanding receiver, top NFL prospect. He'll have to make up his mind whether to go pro or not. Cal's all-time leader in receptions.
You know, Tess, regardless of if he comes back or if he stays, the other thing Coach Tedford's done a nice job of, he's put some good recruiting classes together. He's got a good young roster here.
Especially the receivers, very talented group of freshman receivers led by Chris Harper and Bryce Treggs, who we weren't able to see tonight. He's out with a bad ankle. Butterfield had the fumble recovery. Now Oregon will keep it on the ground.
Number 30, Ayele Ford.
As we see Ayele Ford, walk-on running back.
Injured Golden Bears, 23, Josh Hill.
It's Josh Hill who's limping back to the center of the field, and I thought he's played himself a pretty good game here tonight. They're just going to let that clock go down as far as it can. But the Cal Bears came in here and played a pretty physical defensive game. I thought their front seven played well. I thought the difference in this game was the offensive line of Oregon and Marcus Mariota throwing the football.
Ford gets the first down. We'll remind you that the NASCAR chase for the Sprint Cup at Phoenix coverage begins Sunday at 2 Eastern on ESPN. Brad Keselowski hot on the heels of Jimmy Johnson, the 5-time champ. Oregon closing this out. 13 straight wins dating back to last year. Alabama came into tonight with 13. That win streak now over. Chip Kelly hands off the headset. As Chip Kelly, had that NFL offer. He was halfway out the door to coach the Tampa Bay Bucks, and he said, we got some unfinished business to take care of with Oregon. Today on College Game Day, Oregon native Ty Burrell, who plays Phil Dunphy in the Emmy Award-winning Modern Family, he pleaded on air for Chip Kelly to not leave for the NFL.
Well, he's going to get plenty of opportunity. He's a hot name in the NFL right now, and deservedly so. I think he's as good a coach as there is in all of football.
"50 games into his career, and Chip Kelly now with 44 wins. "13 straight wins for the Ducks.
The final score,
59-17. They march on. Will they be number one? Marcus Mariota, a 6-touchdown night. That does it from Berkeley. Enjoy the rest of your evening.